From bullet ants to mosquitoes, here are 9 of the deadliest insects in the world. Those deeply afraid of creepy crawlies, beware. Number 9. The bullet ant. Known as the world's most painful insect, getting bitten by a bullet ant is something you never want to experience. Native to the rainforests of Central and South America, the small but powerful bullet ant is also known as the hormiga 24, meaning the 24-hour ant, which refers to the full day of pain that follows after being stung. Only a little over an inch in length, it is hard to believe that their sting can feel like getting shot with a bullet. Dr. Justin Schmidt, an entomologist and research director of the Southwest Biological Institute in Tucson, Arizona, invented the Schmidt Sting Pain Index, or SSPI, which categorizes the level of pain felt when stung by wasps, bees, and ants. He let himself get stung by all kinds of insects in order to rank their sting. And this sting does not directly affect your heart or lungs, but it will hurt like a bi-atch. These ants are greatly feared across the rainforest by people and animals alike. However, there are several indigenous tribes that use these ants in their initiation rituals. Young boys wishing to be seen as men by the tribes must endure placing their hand in a woven glove filled with these ants. They also must endure getting stung repeatedly for at least 10 minutes. If that wasn't enough, the boy must sometimes go through over a dozen of these rituals. None of them suffer long-term effects, although the trauma may last forever. Number 8. Japanese giant hornets. The highly aggressive and territorial Japanese giant hornets are infamous for their painful sting and fearsome nature. A subspecies of the Asian giant hornet, these monsters are much larger than normal hornets and are known to hunt and consume up to 50 unfortunate honeybees a day. As if honeybees didn't already have enough problems. The creatures, which are rapidly becoming a pest, have now made nests in France and England. Their venom is known to destroy red blood cells, and those with allergic reactions are especially at risk of death. The Japanese giant hornets kill 30 to 40 people in Japan alone every year and send hundreds to the hospital. Its venom attacks the nervous system and damages the tissue of its victims. The stings can also cause renal failure. The giant hornets are attracted to alcohol and sweet flavors and smells. They are especially sensitive when animals or people run, and they will start to swarm and attack. Some victims have required hundreds of stitches and numerous dialysis treatments to survive and are still left with deep scars. These hornets have led to government initiatives to destroy the nests in Japan and China, and maybe they have the right idea. These aggressive insects are pretty scary. Number 7. Fleas. The hidden villain of the famous Black Death that ravaged Europe during the Middle Ages, the flea feeds on blood and can spread diseases to animals and humans. Capable of leaping 150 times their own height, they can move from animal to consume 15 times their own body weight every single day. The bubonic plague was spread by fleas carrying the disease on board infected rats, and some estimates say it wiped out close to 2/3 of the population of Europe at the time. Though some might say that it was not the fleas, but the infectious bacteria they carried, which made it difficult for the creatures to feed. Therefore, they would regurgitate infectious materials onto the host. In fact, the disease still survives in many flea-infested parts of the world, though it is much more easily treated today. Though the Black Plague changed the entire face of medieval history, modern fleas can still infect humans with diseases such as typhus. Flea bites can cause disastrous allergic reactions on both pets and humans alike. In most cases, the only real stress is avoiding the very itchy, swollen bite marks and dealing with the infestation quickly, as fleas can lay over 50 eggs in a single day. Number 6. The tarantula hawk wasp. This insect is the only other bug to reach a 4 on the SSPI scale, along with the bullet ant. The tarantula hawk is a solitary wasp that wanders around looking for tarantulas. The goal of the tarantula hawk's sting is to get a predator, such as a bird or a lizard, to let it go. The pain from a tarantula hawk is like getting shocked with a high-voltage electric line in a windstorm, and the pain only lasts for about 3 minutes. It might seem like longer if you're screaming in agony, but after a few minutes, it is suddenly gone. However, if you are a tarantula, this sting will not only shock, but paralyze. The wasp will then lay a single egg inside the tarantula's body. When the larva hatches, it will begin feeding on the tarantula, avoiding vital organs for as long as possible so the tarantula stays alive. For the rest of us, tarantula hawk wasps rarely sting without provocation, but geez, nature, you scary! Number 5. The botfly. The botfly, though rarely fatal, makes this list for the parasitic horror show it unleashes on its mammal victims. Last chance to preserve the innocence of your dreams as the human hunting botfly allows its eggs to grow in human skin, which burrow deep and eventually develop into larvae, which can be felt under the skin. They do this by catching a mosquito as host and then implanting it with the botfly's eggs, which when they go to feed on a mammal, and in many cases a human, the eggs fall into the open wound. This insect horror show can cause the victim to feel the larva within the skin squirming when their airway is blocked. Thankfully, this species have the decency to not have too large populations and live in many parts of Central and South America. They are usually treated with petroleum jelly over the wound, which suffocates the invaders so they can be removed with tweezers. Only one type of botfly routinely targets humans, but others can as well, though they usually target the intestines, such as the ones that specialize in horses. Some other animals can become easily infected by the bacteria or other conditions and die soon after. Number 4. Killer bees. Widely known and feared, the Africanized honeybee or killer bee has certainly earned its fearsome reputation. Though their sting is just as deadly as an average honeybee, they are supremely aggressive, sending many from the colony to repeatedly sting any perceived threats. In fact, they are so relentless they will sometimes completely abandon the hive as the entire colony pursues an enemy, leaving the nest completely unprotected. Deaths from bee swarms are disturbingly more common in this species of bee. They were created in the 1950s when Brazilian scientists crossbred the southern African honeybee with the European honeybee in an attempt to create a bee that was more suited to the South American climate. Some bees were accidentally released into the wild in 1957 and had no problem breeding and multiplying throughout the Americas. They have since bred with many other colonies of bees and are beginning to spread across North America as their African honeybee DNA allows them to quickly build hives and grow their population. Unfortunately, they have also inherited the aggressive personality as well. These killer bees have been known to respond viciously to simple things such as noises and even vibrations from vehicles, equipment, and pedestrians. Number 3. Kissing bugs. Not nearly as innocent as they sound, the kissing bug is incredibly deadly because of its tendency to spread the terrible Chagas disease to human populations. Infected with a parasite that causes the disease, they feed on blood during the night and at the same time transfer the parasites to humans. They get their name from their tendency to bite humans near the blood vessel-rich areas of the eyes or lips, though this typically isn't the kind of makeout people are looking for. A little larger than the size of a penny, they are mostly found in warm climates such as the southern U.S. I used to live in Florida and saw these all the time, but I didn't know they carried diseases. The Chagas disease that they spread has 2 distinct stages. The first, in which common symptoms such as muscle aches, rash, vomiting, and other such symptoms may or may not manifest. The second is the chronic stage, which affects 30% of those infected and can cause enlarged heart and heart rate conditions. Good news is that this stage can take years to develop, sometimes close to 20, so if you can make it, you're laughing as you've outlived your attacker by at least 20 times, as they tend to have a 1-year life cycle. If you suspect you've been affected, there are support centers to which you can send the bug, if you can find it, to ensure proper treatment. Number 2. Locusts. The name locust summons images of swarms of flying insects that raze everything in sight until only nothing is left. This plague, however, is all too real. They are very similar in many ways to grasshoppers, though their tendency to gather in large groups is what truly makes them a menace. The main damage isn't directly to humans ourselves, but a huge swarm can descend on a farm and devour everything in sight. Crops, grass, and even clothes can disappear forever within the giant cloud and lead to mass starvation for the communities affected. These These clouds can stretch hundreds of miles across and consume millions of pounds of plants every day in a vicious feeding frenzy made up of billions of locusts. Their telltale buzzing sound is the fear of farmers the world over, yet many quickly scramble to construct large fires as the smoke can debilitate a swarm. Interestingly, the locusts are a delicacy in some parts of the world, and their bodies can help make up for the lost food they consumed. The desert variety is especially known for destroying the little crops that can be grown and are known to move large distances in search for food. In fact, one particular swarm was noted for traveling all the way from northern Africa to the island of Great Britain. Number 1. The mosquito. The bane of fishing and camping trips alike, this seemingly minor annoyance is in fact not only the most deadly insect, but one of the most deadly creatures on the entire planet. They accomplish this by spreading diseases such as Zika, West Nile, and malaria, where they can cripple a human population, especially in areas where medical treatment is unavailable. Interestingly, mosquitoes feed mostly on plant nectars, but the females use blood to help their eggs grow and can consume up to 3 times her own weight in blood to nourish them. Though this blood is easily replenished in most working bodies, the diseases that the mosquito can spread are numerous and deadly. They are attracted to and lay their eggs where there is still water, such as flooded sinks or buckets, and can locate human targets by sensing the carbon dioxide we exhale. They can even sense our body heat to know exactly where to draw blood. At around 210 million years old as a species, they have been feeding on dino DNA. In fact, Alexander the Great was believed to have died of malaria, which is famously spread by mosquitoes and kills more than 1 million people a year. As it turns out, dragonflies may be our best friends as they hunt hundreds of the mosquitoes per hunt, and some places even release them into the wild as natural mosquito control. Thanks for watching! What insect are you the most afraid of? Be sure to subscribe and see you next time. Bye!